Welcome back to another Spirit Island video. In this video, I'm going to be covering another spectacular synergy, this time looking at Violence Bringer with the Stranded Shroud. Now, the combo is built around Bringer's special rule in dealing a ton of damage to invaders and generating a lot of fear. And it's going to do that with the special rule to dream 1,000 deaths. It says when powers of yours would destroy or deal enough damage to destroy explorers, towns, and cities, you're going to generate 0 to 5 fear, respectively, instead. This power pushes explorers and towns, so that means whenever I kill towns, I'm going to generate 2 fear. When I kill cities, I'm going to generate 5 fear. So it's going to give you significantly more fear, but the invaders are still going to be left on the board. So it's one of Bringer's best attributes and also worst because it allows you to rush that fear deck, but because you're not killing invaders, it's going to run into a lot of problems into several adversaries. Now, Bringer has two aspects that were released in the NI expansion. You have the enticing and the violence aspect. I said that this combo is going to focus on using the violence aspect, but it's important to point out the enticing aspect as well as base Bringer can still work in the combo. I just think it's slightly worse. Let's look at enticing first. So enticing is going to replace your right innate or your fear innate, and it's going to give you another innate called enticing and lulling dreams. It's a fast power that allows you to move invaders, and then in that land, or move invaders, and then in that land, invaders are going to do less damage. So it's essentially like kind of like a pseudo skip or like a pseudo defend, also control. So it's a way for Bringer to interact more with the board. I like enticing, but the more I play, I think violence is actually better, which is kind of the opposite. During playtesting, we felt enticing was better for a large portion of playtesting. But I do think violence is better in general for Bringer, but also for this combo. So let's see what that does. Let's put violence up here. So the first thing that violence is going to do is you're going to lose one of your starting uniques, and I probably should have looked at it quick enough because now I can't hover what you lose over. But you lose over your Fast Han moving card, which is actually pretty good. But you are going to gain Bat Scout for raids by darkness, which is that 1 energy slow power, moon, air, animal. 2 range for each Tahan, 1 damage to a building, and then it also can move Tahan in the slow. In addition, Violence says it's gaining a new special rule. It says card plays on your bottom track are going to give you twice as many plays, but these card plays can only be used for cards with damage or destroy instructions. So that means both your Bat Scout as well as your Predatory Nightmares, these can count as your cards that can be played for those extra card plays. Now you're going to notice here that essentially means your card play track is going to read 4, 4, 4, 6, 6. So like this is an absurd plays track, and you just get to start the game with that. So very, very strong. And then the last boost that Violence Bringer gets is it is going to upgrade that special rule that I just talked about. Instead of having 0 to 1, 0 to 5, it's going to be 1, 3, 5. That means now when you kill those explorers, you're generating fear. When you're killing those towns, you're generating 3 times the normal fear that a spirit would get for killing that town. And unfortunately, killing cities doesn't do anything. Now, the only negative to violence is you lose the left innate, and the left innate is actually one of my favorite parts about Bringer, being able to look up and play around those fear cards. So violence throws that out the window. It throws out all of the defensive aspects of the spirit, but it's going to double down on that fear, and that's what the synergy is all about, generating a lot of fear. Okay, so talked about Bringer. Let's look at Shroud. What is Shroud doing? So Shroud is going to utilize the slow and silent death. It says invaders and Dahan in your lands do not heal. So the whole point of this is Shroud is going to put a presence in a land, put it right over here. Shroud is going to damage that land. Let's say I damage these guys. They're both at 2 health. And because my presence is in that land, the invaders aren't healing, and then I'm generating fear during time passes. So like you're playing the Shroud minigame that sometimes works, but it's really not what you should really be doing. But so you're playing this Shroud minigame, right? Well, now Bringer can utilize. Well, actually, yes. So Violence Bringer, technically, should have done it like this. Okay, so this actually replaces this. I can actually X this out. Go. So now Bringer can go and see that these cities both have 1 health left. So if I do 2 damage to these cities, oh darn, that's gonna be 10 fear. And that's exactly how this combo works. So ideally you want to have a land that has a ton of freaking buildings. Let's say this land looks like this, right? And you're not England, you're playing Scotland. All these buildings are like this. Here we go. They all have 1 damage on them. And then Bringer comes over, and Bringer finds an Uber major. Maybe they find Mists of Oblivion, right? A big meme, which does 1 damage to all invaders. And then Bringer does that here, right? And then you're gonna notice, okay, well, there's 2 cities, so that's 10 fear. There's gonna be what 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 towns. That's going to be another 24 fear. So for this 1 fear card, I generated 34 fear, and because I'm in a 2-player game, it's 8 fear per card. That's going to be what's that? 4 cards, 4 fear cards by playing 1 major. So ideally, what you're trying to do is use that Shroud special rule to keep the invader count or the invader health down, and then Bringer is going to come in and just slam and obliterate that land. And this is 1 major. Right now, all of a sudden, let's say I play my Predatory Nightmares. So now 2 energy, 2 damage. Okay, I just damaged the cities. That's another 10 fear. And then maybe I do Bat Scout. That's another 10 fear. So hopefully this kind of showcases the whole point of the combo. And then you could throw in another spirit like Finder, where now Finder goes the little hummingbird, and they go around and they gather all the buildings into 1 lands, because Shroud doesn't really have control tools to move buildings around, or Bringer really doesn't either. I mean, it kind of does, but not really. But then you get like a good control spirit like Finder, or like Wandering Voice or Many Minds, something like that, to throw all the buildings together, and then you do the whole combo. Now, what else is Shroud doing? That's pretty much it. The whole point of Stranded is strict upgrade over base Shroud. You lose the Mists Shift and Flow, which is just a very I mean, it's not a bad special rule. It's just Stranded is just significantly better. So you get that Stranded special rule, you get that Isolates, gives you more action eco, and then you're able to just minimize the blight taken. So the strategy is, I don't want to say it's greedy. It's just it's all in on the fear deck. You're going to be rushing that fear deck. You're not trying to stabilize the board. You're not trying to beat the invaders in a fair game of Spirit Island. You're trying to cheese Spirit Island, and it's a strategy that works very effectively. Now, Violence Bringer can do this with some other spirits. I just use Shroud as this is the one where it kind of it's very intuitive. Another spirit that Violence Bringer can combo with is Rising Heat, and that Rising Heat special rule, Blistering Heat, where it says at the start or at your sacred sites, invaders have -1 health. So now you don't even need to play the complete Shroud minigame, right? You can just have a sacred site in that land, and then Bringer comes over and just slams damage into that land. The one negative though is because it says what is this? At your sacred sites, invaders have -1 health. So that means those cities are still going to be left with 2 health on them, which is one of the benefits that Shroud gets. Shroud can ping those cities with that left to date or with the fog closes in. But it's just easier for Rising Heat to just double grow into a Mountain or Sands and then set that land up. If you like this video, like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video.